entire season.
Not Beryl.
It was always going to be, it was always one step away. And she just crossed that line, maybe just missed it entirely. You know, hopefully didn't hit a pedestrian, but my goodness, that was a thing I cannot unsee. All right, the Aurora going to be banned away as we dive into draft here for game number 2. T1 staying on the blue side, of course, a little bit more comfortable over there. Plus, DK, I believe, did not drop many games on the blue side either.
Yeah, I want to go through some of the takeaways. I think that this was a very expensive match for T1 to lose, right? And to me, this really wasn't about a draft. We've seen T1 play this exact style of draft a million times. For me, it was just purely execution. I think that normally...
I do think that there are some question marks about the Jhin pick-away type situation, but that's the only real thing.
That's fair. I agree. That one into Jarvan, I think, is the one that we, at least, were both very skeptical about. But as a composition, we've seen him execute this. I think for me, it is a much bigger thing, and this is something we always talk about, is that DK has had a very hard-fought time on this patch. They've been playing a lot of stage games. 5 games against BNK. I think it was 3-1 against Bro, I want to say. And then 3-0 against Nongshim, obviously. But that is still a crazy amount of games. And they were very behind the meta, I think, slash BNK was very locked in their first series, but they've been learning. And I think what we did said as well warrants repeating. It didn't feel like DK did anything special, which maybe in terms of, you know, them being DK, the fact that they were stable was special in of itself. But it was a very stock standard game, and I think that T1 need to lean into what has made them the second best team for the entirety of rounds 3 to 5. And they didn't really do that in game 1. We'll see if they can bounce back, as the Wukong shouldn't come as a surprise pickup here. Maybe an Annie pick away, and then some possible follow-up for Lucid here. But Yunara is open, but I gotta say, I think that picking the Yunara, I get it, because you don't want to give it over to T1. But this is most likely going to be followed by Annie, and maybe even Rakan as well.
Oh my god, he's doing it! Okay, thank you, Shovel. Thank you for turning up. As, of course, he's a bit of a Kiana guy, but we were having a discussion about this earlier on. We were talking about Molecule's tweet where it was like, maybe they'll sub in Shovel so he can play some Kiana.
And he's here.
And we were like, there's no way Lucid hasn't been spamming this champion.
And then, as I was walking out, you know, I was practicing, doing the warm-ups on the Kiana. Was Lucid. Obviously, this champion got jungle buffs this patch, and Kiana, if you are unfamiliar, they need to... Oh, I was about to say, okay. I glossed over the Rumble ban. I'm like, well, I've seen that combo a million times. We cannot allow that. Not going to be the case. I do really like the Corki pickup here, because it both obviously does well in lane, but more importantly, it has escape tools versus what is an extremely dangerous assassin on the opposing team. There's the Rise, blind here for Faker. And, I mean, Showmaker could go Casio, but...
Talia is up, dude.
Yeah? I think that...
Isn't Talia Kiana, like, wasn't that the OG combo?
Well, it makes sense, given that we've seen Rise pick so much into Talia that Showmaker wouldn't necessarily want to go Talia here.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
There are a lot of other picks that Showmaker loves to play that would synergize well. It looks like instead they're going to trust his champion pool and pick up a very early Alistar here for Beryl. And I think it does make sense. I do think with the Yunara you want some form of protection. I don't think Kiana's going to give that. Obviously, if you haven't seen the champion in a good long time, maybe you're a new League fan. Maybe you only watch LCK. You're like, what does she do? Don't worry.
She picks up elements and she runs around. And then she throws people into a wall and then blows up the wall.
Yeah, an assassin, but with a giant AoE teamfight ult. And you might be like, is that okay? When she's good, not really, which is why we're seeing her right now. So Poppy and Rakan, I think both good bans. Make me wonder whether Keria is going to go towards either the Nautilus, which I'm double checking is still very much available and would make a ton of sense here, or the Rel, which would be, I think, a lot more synergy with the Wukong specifically, and the Nautilus is guaranteed lockdown onto this Yunara, as the Annie does get taken away here, because obviously T1 can't go towards it anymore with the Faker Rise pickup.
Yep. Let's see what this fourth pick is going to be, as Skarner is going to be a... Wait.
No, we're having a giggle. No, there's no way.
Oh, wait.
Unless... No. Wait, Skarner, Kiana? Is that why Lucid?
Kiana?
Is that why Lucid didn't smile at all? Is it Showmaker Kiana? No,
it's not. It's Fate.
We got baited. I actually do like the shout out because theoretically it's one of those things you're like, wait. But it's going to be the TF here for Showmaker, which is obviously one of the picks that he has excelled the most on.
Oh,
and
wait.
yeah, they did not ban Silas, and Alistar is in the game.
And so is Kiana. And Supreme Display of Talent is a kind of cool ultimate to steal away.
The main issue is that you'd be either playing Ryze top blind, or you'd be playing...
Oh, right, there is a Wukong in the game, which does turn things around a little.
Or you'd be playing Silas top blind, and I do think, unfortunately...
Ooh, and then you cross your fingers and you're like, you really like Nah, right? I don't even know whether that matchup's in.
I thought you were going to say Malphite. Like, no, Atlas, don't play with my heart! Which obviously they would never go for many a reason. As what is it going to be here? I do like the Jax a lot. I think Jax is really good into the Kiana. Because obviously she is still going to be often in range for you to engage on.
Yep.
And then we have the TF who doesn't get nearly the same impact when you get to just E his gold card.
Well, let's see what she wants to do. The Cassante doesn't necessarily fill me with joy. Something a little bit more aggressive has been Shiu's bread and butter. Something that can find flank angles and get into fights that way and really be a damage threat. A Gwen does fit that bill.
I think this makes more sense to me. Because I think that we have actually seen both sides of this matchup being picked. The Cassante, with the changes that came through to him, actually has a much stronger lane now. So he's able to actually stand up to the Jackson and build a lead from there.
And you're also a tank that can play the flanking game.
Yes, because we do know Shiu on things like Sion, Cho'Gath, and Ornn, I think, has really struggled. Cassante, to me, does feel like he is a lot more nebulous. As is he a true tank versus is he more of a bruiser or tank turns into a bruiser?
Yep.
Or the other way around, depending on what point in the game we are in. It does make the DK composition, I think, more stable. But I'm looking at what T1 has, and that's some strong champions. And this Kiana is a big question mark, Atlas. So a lot of heavyweight here on the shoulders of Lucid.
There absolutely is. I'm very interested to see how this one's going to go. But when you see hyper carries that have a bit of danger as far as being focused down, you look to see whether there are damage threats elsewhere. And there is a Kiana in the game. There is a TF that if Showmaker is able to play it to the level that we know that he's capable of, then he could certainly be a threat himself. I think there is kind of enough to make T1's job a bit tricky. The problem is, this composition isn't very tricky. It is, you kind of go in and then you kill them all. And we know that as far as pressing E and Q together is concerned, Doran, he has no competition. He is absolutely incredible. As we get the zoom in on Kiana, let's get into it. Game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Back onto the Rift here for the Uribank 2025 LCK Playoffs Game 2. DK lead the series 1-0 thus far, but Game 1's, that's what they know how to do. The rest is kind of uncharted territory.
Well, it's very charted territory, actually. That's the problem for DK fans.
Right. Winning the rest of the games is uncharted territory.
So, let's talk a little bit about Kiana, because this is the first time that we've seen her in a long time in the LCK.
She has a very annoying ultimate name.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if the game goes anything like last game, we'll have a lot of time to workshop.
Yeah.
But basically, the way she works is depending on... with her W, she can grab elements. So you have rock, you have grass, and then you have water. They'll do different things. Grass gives stealth. I think the most important one, that's the one you'll see most often used, because it makes her a lot harder to reliably lock down.
And she runs fast.
She also does that, yeah. And then there is the water, which is the root, right? As Lucid is also going to be able to get the Q combo off in rapid succession. If you go for Q, then you can get the W to renew, and then you can go in. Obviously, your first play, you are an assassin, so you're going to need a little bit of time. But there you can see right there that it does reset the cooldown on your Q, so you can get a lot of burst. Her laning phase is very weak, which is why we never see Kiana mid. The neat thing about jungle is that there is no laning phase. And you're playing into Wukong as well, which obviously is one of the champions that doesn't really ever look to go for invades. And also, how would he ever kill Qiyana? There's just not really a way because she's way too mobile.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate, which I think is unfortunately very long-winded, but very cool, just creates this giant AoE
It's
stun.
Wally Boom. It's the ultimate is in effect Wally Boom. You make the
What?
walls go boom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were referencing something that I didn't get.
No. The ultimate's name is Supreme Display of Talent. And creating a Wally Boom is a extreme display of talent,
Okay.
I would say.
Well, if that is that. Did you just come up with that now? Or do
yeah,
you wanna,
that was just.
you want to keep?
What do you
want to
think?
keep? I think you can do better. I
can do better?
I have high expectations of you, Atlas. We have time to workshop this. It's fine.
Okay. Well, back to the drawing board, I guess. I was doing a lot of thinking about that while you were talking about Qiyana.
Well, I thought you were going to say writing board, because you're not drawing. You're
I could draw.
as.
Oh my goodness. It was Qiyana in a loss against Peanut a million years ago. Okay, well, Faker also finding a really nice trade into the Twisted Fate here. As a flash forward from Showmaker to set up for Lucid making his way in. He's got a bit of extra damage with the red already prepped, and now Faker finds himself behind enemy lines and will get Scry. Does have a blast cone at the ready, and then just teleports back to the turret, so he will be able to keep himself alive. But that is teleport now on cooldown and flash burn.
So, successful gank nonetheless. Showmaker did trade his own flash, which I do think is actually a possibility of a gank coming in.
And it's also a double scuttle here as well for Ono.
Yeah, because he did actually invest there. But yeah, I want to highlight that the biggest advantage here for Showmaker is obviously that he's going to be up like maybe about a wave as he is able to crash this into the turret. I don't think with the vision coverage that there is really any angle for him to try and make a play elsewhere on the map.
This is looking a little bit... It's the classic, like, Jax versus Tank matchup where you're never above a third health. And so that is continuing to make me nervous. That's all right. And now we have Faker taking some wild cards. And Showmaker here in the mid lane is just going to be buying as much time as he can. Has teleported back to lane already.
Doesn't look like it's anything besides a good amount of experience.
Head up, Rise does come in as Doran's gonna get pulled back! Doesn't get hit by the turret, but he doesn't need it! Solo kill from Shiu! Okay, I'm calling it now, he's back! He's back! Shiu!
Yeah.
Oh my god, okay.
Wow. I'm kind of... Is it January?
Wait. There is another side to this coin.
This is how Doran gets powered up.
Yeah, Doran might also be back. As he is going to get stunned up here as Aiming and Barrel will find Doran making his way towards the bottom lane. But we're not going to say that just yet. I think that it is probably just Shiu playing very, very well here today.
And I kind of wonder what the impact it's going to have on the matchup, as Doran is just desperately trying to get this wave in, and that is fine. He would have been okay if he just got the wave in, but just wants to get a little bit of damage in, and again, there's just no upside to that. Like, I get that in theory, any damage you do because he TP'd in, you'll be able, but especially, I don't know if this was the original plan. I didn't quite get a look at the timings of the rotation, but if the plan always was to lane swap, then it even does less. Showmaker doesn't have TP, or a flash rather.
Yep, doesn't have a way out of this one. Faker doesn't find that Q, but I don't think he needed to, as there's the Nimbus Strike. Down goes Showmaker in this mid lane. The answer is there, one apiece as far as those kills are concerned in the game. Once again, very, very even 500 gold ahead for T1. Off the back end of that play, as Aiming will head up towards his top side, but that looks like a plate over to Gumayusi as well to continue T1's advantage.
And it looks like with Owner getting that kill and being very heavy on the farming, actually about half a level up, we'll be getting his third crab here as Aiming is alone.
Yeah, could be in a little bit of trouble. Does take a lot of burst damage, but does have his cow teleporting in.
That's, you know, that's good support.
Yep.
He's not doesn't have to be worried as we're taking another look here. It's a really nice roam there from Carrier, and this is the payoff of that earlier flash. For T1, nicely played around. I think the kill going over the Owner specifically is also very warranted. Wukong is one of the best snowballing junglers if he can get his hands on early kills. And Lucid has also been pretty active early on, but as a result, hasn't really been able to stay too close in the CS department. We'll know if his buff get at least a little bit of CS parity, and obviously is going to be looking to now play towards that ultimate. There's also the question of if one kill is going to be enough for the Cassante to really be a problem. I think that obviously it is a big win for Shiyu, but I think we're going to need to see a bit more for the matchup to substantially change, because I think Jax, even though he's behind, should still be able to, once he gets to his spikes.
And it's also, it's Doran as well.
Yes.
And he is very well known for being pretty untiltable. Even though sometimes it looks like he is, he never actually is. He is just all of the time Doran. And that's just how that one goes. Aiming and Barrel will be able to crash this wave in, I'm pretty sure, as the Slurkle is going to go wide towards Gumayusi.
This does create another game, though, where I feel like it's somewhat of a flip side of last game, where Barrel should be fine here. It feels somewhat the opposite, where I think T1, even though they have really good side laning, also have an insane 5v5. Right, and that's oh, and we go!
Yeah, Destiny comes on through as the flash is going to be flashed away from, so no pulverize there for Barrel. As Aiming is going to move down. That will be the last grub secured here by DK.
Okay, so we trade flash for flash. Wukong not having flash is a big deal, but that is Showmaker's first ultimate, not quite getting a kill, which is something that, as the team playing into TF, you're going to be happy about.
Shu is not doing as well as he was earlier on, as Barrel looks for a pulverize onto the Corki. Does manage to make that one work as he powers up the Q. And is just going to be walking forward. Decent amount of rocket damage there, sustained by DK, but they will be able to get another shove in. And while everything is sort of happening elsewhere on the map, okay, Showmaker once again going to get engaged on, does flash this time, but that flash is not often off cooldown.
And really nicely done here. These continuous punishes by Owner. Actually, on the brook, it's very funny. It's a mirror of the play before where Showmaker flashed onto Faker.
Yeah.
And then Faker didn't die. This time around, it's the opposite. Faker flashes onto Showmaker as they are still going here, but I don't think Shiu actually wants to force an all-in unless Lucid is going for the long wraparound.
Yep, Shiu looking for a bit of an angle here as he flashes, gets the all-out, as now Doran just getting himself out of here.
A little early, maybe.
Lucid was just taking away the enemy Krugs, but they're setting up a dive. That is going to be the plan.
Oh, Owner's on his way. I don't know if he'll be in time. Counter-Strike, is it up?
Yeah, it does have flash as well. Doran does have some outplay potential, but the supreme display of talent comes down. He gets the double stun, as now Owner will find the Cyclone for the cleanup. There it is. And T1, oh man, sacrifice Doran, pick up a double kill, and that feels fantastic.
And that dive was greedy. Lucid was sitting on so much gold. I'm pretty sure he's still only at the Tiamat. Now his Profane Hydra is finished. That could have actually just been the difference. Doran was so low.
Not to mention, Shiu just had a chain vest.
Yes.
Like, that was it.
It was a very greedy dive. Owner was already big and is now the scariest monkey. Like, we are getting very rapidly into King Kong territory, Atlas.
Yeah, this is Trinity forcing a bit on this back as well.
Base. Yeah, because he is not even sitting on those components. There we go.
There it is. Even gets a cheeky little red rock as well, as we're going to get this one from Doran's perspective. As I think he knows that there is going to be some sort of gank attempt. And you can see already, Owner is moving down. Yep, Counter-Strike and naming his cooldowns, things like this, knows that this is coming.
The fact he gets the Counter-Strike.
I mean, if he had have actually died immediately, then it would have been good for DK, but survived.
I mean, actually, what I didn't notice the first time is that while that was happening, Keria was also behind them.
Oh, wow.
So I think they were just always dead.
Well, it is going to be
kind of crazy.
Warfare, going over to T1 as well. Still haven't seen a Drake go down. This one's getting kind of old, 6.5 minutes.
I'm fairly certain, Atlas, if you could pick where your gold is, and on one team it's on Cassante, and the other team it's on Wukong, the team of Wukong is going to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Kingen in the previous series.
Okay, that's a whole nother conversation we didn't need to bring up because that
he was an
very
extremely fed Cassante.
No, but like it was sad.
And it does
tried
make,
so hard.
His teammate Barrel
got
is
so
in the
far.
game. And in the end,
it was 3 years, Atlas.
Yeah, I know. Still, Lucid is going to be trying to throw some damage out. Like you mentioned, that Profane Hydra has been completed, but he doesn't have 3 kills. Owner does.
Yeah,
And so he's like 900 gold behind.
If Lucid got one of the kill, or that kill towards the Jax, that would have been big. But because he doesn't, still behind in XP. It's been continuously about half a level. Showmaker is up a little bit of gold, but let's be real, we all know TF, his gold is fake.
Yep.
And he needs to be up, otherwise he is in trouble. What we haven't talked about yet, though, and that's where I think that the Fed, Wukong, and the Jax really come into play, as well as after game 1, is that aiming's Yunara is a legitimate win condition. This champion is super busted in team fights if you don't lock her down and kill her quickly. But I think aiming did have a very uninspiring game number 1. There is also the fact that a lot of the CC on T1 isn't actually cleansable. I think going cleanse is fine, it's not me criticizing that, but it's just highlighting that, like, Owner, his CC, you can't cleanse, right? Like, and he's definitely going to be the biggest problem here, so aiming's positioning needs to be a lot better than it was last game if DK want to have a shot in team fight. That is, unless we get, you know, the classic crazy big Kiana ultimates, but I would expect T1, given the experience on their team, again, they were 4 out of 5 players were on the LCK as one of the best roster the last time the Kiana jungle was still meta.
Yep.
And it basically boils down to do not play in chokes, do not do jungle fights, just use your space.
T1 does really like to start Baron, so she does play into that pretty effectively.
Well, also Kiana, I think, is interesting in that she actually is an assassin that, as mentioned, I think her laning phase is ready. She skills really well. You actually are just always a really big threat, and again, particularly with the ultimate, that just becomes sillier and sillier as the game continues.
Yep, ability haste pretty powerful as well. Now has the cheeky extra 4 fields.
Atlas. I think this time it is a lot better for T1. It's like kind of the flip of what we had last game.
And also the ease of execution. I think for a game number 2, when you're trying to bounce back, lowering the barrier of difficulty is often a really good idea, as Xiu gone a little bit aggressive towards Doran here, even finds that extra Q, and does find some really nice trades. Owner is moving over, though, as the ward does go down. Arakan going to be on the bottom side of the map this time around. Yeah, and we've never seen, I mean, I personally, here in the LCK, have not seen a Kiana around an Arakan, so that could be a bit of fun.
Well, that could be entertaining.
She does like fighting in the river, you know? Stuff just tends to work a little bit better.
As we'll see, no Drake has been taken. DK was actually pretty on top of the Drake taking in last game. Haven't seen any of that, as both Faker and Showmaker have finished their rod now, and yeah, we just have Owner starting up Herald.
Yeah, immediately.
And DK, as they should contest for sure.
Well, Carrier is going to try and deny it as the Destiny comes down, gives them full information of what's happening here around this Herald. Let's see whether Lucy can make something happen. As
she was running.
Yeah, Carrier goes in, finds a Magnus Storm onto only Beryl. Not exactly the optimal target. A Supreme Display of Talent also not getting too much done, but aiming. Going to be able to pick up his first kill of this fight is now Showmaker.
She was here.
Flashes over the wall. Doran looking for an angle onto Lucid, who goes into stealth. And Xiu protects Lucid. Doran is going to go down as now Faker doing battle with the cow. And she was flashing on top of him, aiming, trying to get amongst it, as Owner's over here as well, and that's just a 1-for-0, but Lucid goes over to the Drake, and they should be able to take that too.
Atlas, I figured it out. That is Rise Group, baby!
Oh my goodness, it is Rise Group, baby, but the Legend Group is not used to it.
They're being pulled into the dirt!
Oh
They're fighting in the mud!
And look, they've got really clean clothes, you know, like they're not prepared for this. DK have had time to buy their galoshes.
As they're still going!
Yeah, but he's going to be the Rift Herald secured here by Owner. Collects the eye there at the same time as Showmaker doesn't quite have that gold card. And Owner does just worry a Trickster his way out.
Oh, and when all's said and done, T1 used a lot of resources. They do get the Herald in the end. As we take a look, the engage from Carrier doesn't hit the mark as Lucid finds the flash. And then Beryl with his ultimate is able to stay alive. The Supreme Display of Talent, I think, doesn't really match the name, but it does buy the space. I think delays T1 a little bit. Aiming, by the way, goes mostly unchecked in this fight. And then Lucid dares that stealth, then gets the position, ease through Doran, and then his trustworthy bodyguard shows up, keeps him safe. And I think that T1 kind of escaping a situation that could have been much worse. If Xiu gets that W, Faker's dead. gets pulled back in, they get the ultimate. In the end, it's a 1-for-1 trade when it comes to the objectives. The kills were, I think, 2-for-1, I want to say, in favor of DK.
Yeah, and this time around it was the Kiana getting a kill, and Aiming picked up one as well.
It was 2-for-0, right?
Yep.
DK or T1 already had feats.
Yep, they did. And that's why we're sitting at a 1.6k gold advantage here for DK, the largest that we've seen at, you know, prior to 25 minutes so far this series. Doesn't necessarily mean too much, as of course, this is more of that finesse-style draft that we like to talk about with DK. They do have a solid tank there on the top side of the map, but a lot of these champions do want to play with some smoke and mirrors, whereas T1, they want to go in, they want to press their AoE CC buttons, and they want to kill Aiming. That's basically what it's going to look like. As Slurkle goes down into this mid lane, as Gumyushi doesn't quite find the fast bomb, but it is just both of these AD carries farming things up. 2 items going to be a big deal, but 3 is what Aiming's really looking for, and Gumyushi is about to hit that 2-item spike that the Corki loves so much. But it has been a pretty quiet game for the AD carries, and I say that probably benefits DK until they...
well, there's the Axiom arc.
Inara is just kind of dead, and there it is. So 2 items now done for Lucid. And we'll see whether the next supreme display of talent is, in fact, going to be named absolutely optimally. And Beryl's just being a bodyguard. And I haven't really had much to say about Beryl so far this series. And that's probably a good thing.
It's shocking as well.
I know.
I'm not
Still
really,
waiting.
I don't really know what it means. We might find out as she will be able to get the turret here.
But it is traded, and who managed to get it? It was T1, a split second. So they secure the feats of strength. That was extraordinarily close.
Yeah, that was literally within a second of one another. As owner is on vision. See if a trap is set up. It's really hard to actually lock down the Wukongers. Oh, Beryl!
Yeah, Beryl going to find the Pulverize here as he's looking to try and turn it onto Gumyushi. Missed by the Slurkle, though. And Beryl does have to blow the ulti. Faker possibly out of position, and Lucid can just dance towards him. He gets the redemption, but I don't think he's realm warping out of this one, and Aiming secures his 2nd kill of the game. Make it 5 now for DK. Not a whole lot to pick up off the back end, but still good to layer in a few extra kills.
I'm unsure how to parse this situation, Atlas.
I know, I can see your trepidation. Give it a go, though. We're all here.
So...
And we're happy to give you the benefit of the doubt. I think you've earned that.
I'm just a bit surprised that DK consistently getting the better end. And I think that the fact that Showmaker's playing TF makes such a big part. And that, to me, might be the biggest difference. Because obviously, Shiwa's had a really big resurgence. But I remember when DK was going through their worst periods, it was, I think, the veterans that had the toughest time, which was Showmaker and Beryl. And both of those in the series today, as you highlighted, have just been very solid. Showmaker had a crazy Orianna game in game number 1.
Yep.
And Beryl hasn't made me say anything negative about him the whole day.
Which is unheard of.
Which is unheard of, yeah. And what I do want to highlight is that these type of skirmishes actually do mean a lot, because these individual gold leads for DK eventually are going to reach a point where even if they do take down Aiming, right? If Aiming positions well enough, you might have to give up so much positioning in the fight and let so much damage still alive, because I think even the Cassante is a big threat. Like, I think it's hard for T1 to reliably take him down. That's Beryl. We're not going to go for that again.
Yeah.
And for T1, it needs to actually start with getting either Showmaker or Aiming at the start of a fight. Keria, Owner, and or Doran need to get on top of these high value targets, because we're seeing DK actually play really well around this TF and continuously finding one member to gold card, take down, and then go from there.
Well, you got to teleport in here from said TF, as the Rift Herald hasn't quite started her charge just yet. Will finally get into position, but she's not going anywhere, and that turret is going to stay healthy. Beryl, not so much, as Lucid trying to get some poke damage down, as Shiu going to be exiting the top side of the map. Teleport at the ready. Doran also has his.
We'll see.
Going for a reset is Beryl. He has teleport already primed, so it's not going to be Otacon or anything like that here for T1. As into stealth is Lucid, looking for a bit of an angle towards Owner, as he does just dash back into the fog of war. Teleport in pretty aggressively by Beryl. He's just going to be able to run around.
Should be great.
Doran, yeah, going to be
Bases are coming
pushing
through
on the top side.
That's just going to be the Dragon here for DK. Second Drake. See what it ends up being.
Oh, Shio going to stop it back here at the same time. It was already almost definitely going to be a Drake, but the problem is the Drake is right next to an Otacon. Showmaker is going to immediately
DK,
start off.
That's a gamble.
Well, they are known to do that, as they are 2.5k ahead, but that may change now as we've got an Ocean Soul. They are looking for a turn.
Wait, Barrel's behind him.
Oh, no.
Barrel's in that little pocket of vision, I think.
The Assassin Cow, but we're not going to know for the next little while as Cassante is showing on vision. The rest of DK are going to back.
There he is!
There's the Destiny. He pulls off Gumayushi as Shiu dives in. Guma just flashes away though, and Shiu is instantly evaporated. And now Faker is going to make his way in. Beryl just gets him out of there with a headbutt. But without Shiu, DK may just lose the Otacon and they may lose more as well. The flash counter-strike from Doran. And another double comes through for Ona. As now Carrier's just picking them up one after the other. Lucid lying on the floor and aiming is taking it out of turret in the mid lane because everything was going wrong.
And that too is Rise Group. Otacon.
Oh God, you called it.
We knew. Has a Siren's Call that DK cannot deny. Colossal win there for T1. They get the team fight. They get the objective. They got a ton of bounty gold as well. If they get the inner as well, this is going to be a monumental swing. Looks like that might be the case. And
yep, and that is the exact gold lead DK had before they went for that Otacon. Now being won by T1.
34-3 is the paddle count.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. As Barrel, of all the members, Guma is the timing just off there. If they can kill Guma, the fight is obviously won, but he is a Corki. He's able to flash his way out. And you can see as well the rest of DK. I kind of am wondering maybe if they could have stuck around, but it's so hard. Getting access to the pit, not going to be the case. As T1 finally found the team fight that they were looking for. Kind of handed to them partially, I gotta say, because obviously DK was already taking a beating from the Otacon. And T1 now 5-0 is owner, but it's been him that has been getting the kills. I think it's been Doran that's farming the clips on this Jax. And that is with him getting solo killed. Again, I want to remind everyone.
Just so incredibly
it's
Doran,
so Doran.
The one of the more Doran things that can exist. What it does do, though, here at the 24.5-minute mark, is bring us back to a relatively even gold situation. But when you're looking at those far numbers, the 34-3 is going to be a big deal.
It's rough.
We're having a look at Ona with a level advantage. We've got level 16 for Faker coming in.
Oh, Luci's behind them, I think.
Well, let's see whether he
can
actually
is he going to get spotted?
angle.
Doran doesn't see him. I don't know if it matters, though. Can they actually go for something here?
Well, it looks like Lucid is still being sneaky. Now just going to look for a little bit of a return home. The Baron is up, and there's vision everywhere for T1.
And this time around, T1 is going to chew for that very quickly.
Yes.
It's a lot better than last game. He's back in again as Guma.
Yeah, Beryl is flashing forward. There's a Supreme Display talent, and down he will go! They make sure of it there as well, but the Cyclone for the follow-up. Showmaker not going to get knocked up, though. And he does find a card. Isn't going to be able to use it, as we can see, is Shiu. Still getting taken down relatively low, but DK this time do manage to get their pick.
Okay.
What does it mean?
Was it worth it? Because Lucid at the flash, they used a lot of health bars, a lot of tempo there on that play, and it doesn't really lead to an objective. If that was a Dragon, if they got soul point off that, I think you might have been feeling good, though I gotta say, into the T1 comp, I don't know how much value you're gonna get out of Ocean Soul.
That's a good point.
I guess Guma is slightly more sad. As here we have Beryl getting Guma's Valkyrie, and then Lucid does find the kill. They are able to stall it out a little bit thanks to the redemption. But it doesn't end up mattering too much, and an owner looks for the counterplay, but gets exhausted, so doesn't actually get too much damage down. Shiu on Barrel also there to protect. But that's a nice little bit of influx of gold for DK. That by itself isn't really... I feel like DK are in the position now where T1 was last game, where I think that the composition for T1 just kind of plays itself. I think that DK had their moment and choose to, you know, lose themselves at Otacon. And then, as we have been told, that's not a good thing.
Yes, it was a generous delivery of all of the tempo vibes over to T1 in that scenario.
I also think T1 should be able to regain some composure. Right? This is something we often talk about when you do fall behind unexpectedly as an overdog.
Yep.
Can be hard to bounce back. We'll have to see though, because DK still Lucid level 14. Once he hits level 3 in the ultimate, especially with Axiomark, that can win fights from very, very absurd positions. Drake is about to spawn here, but it's DK that is trying to regain control. T1 have control of the river.
Yep, Slurkle flies out, but doesn't really get too much done as T1 will be K-ramming for the moment. Everyone here in position. Faker a little bit off to the side, as we can see, but has started this dragon already. She on a flank angle, level 16 here for Showmaker, as there's the Destiny. In goes Showmaker and finds the gold card onto Faker. Great knock up there from Beryl at the same time as the burst was huge. But can they actually lock down a target? It's a Magnet Storm from Carrier. Doesn't quite get enough done, but it's a trade of these supports, and Doran decides now is the time to go in. Aiming does manage to get a cleanse off, and he takes down the Jax. It is Lucid that falls at the same time, so in the end, a 2-for-2 trade. As the gold card comes through, Faker a little worse for wear now, as Showmaker looking very healthy. Gold card in position, and T1 have the jungler. They don't have the health bars to make this one work, as Gumishi does show back up again. And we are going to see that it was indeed the Dragon secured by T1 in the end of that, but ultimately a pretty even trade.
An all-out brawl, as you can see the damage there. The stun, the damage from Aiming, who can walk up thanks to Beryl and Lucid's ultimate. They don't quite get the perfect situation though with Shiu trying to kidnap someone. Good interrupt there from Beryl. I'm pretty sure T1's trying to get on top of them there, as unfortunately this time a little bit too telegraphed. That said, Aiming not having sums is a really big deal. And they lost that fight, but they got the objective. So I would say T1, not too sad. Owner is going to have Flash soon. He will be able to engage onto Aiming from such a long distance. And for a large amount of time, Aiming isn't really going to do anything, which is making me believe I will be shocked if T1 doesn't just pull the trigger on Baron very, very soon. That's kind of what we're looking towards.
Yep. And we know that they love doing it. So it would make a lot of sense. Immediately, that Baron vision is going to be cleared away. Beryl was trying to get something in there, but isn't able to really make it stick. As we have 3 items on this Wukong. He's 2,000 gold ahead.
Yeah.
Everyone else on DK has a lead, apart from that guy on your screen right now, level 16 on this monkey. And sometimes we're like, oh, but all the money's on the jungler. It's not ever with Wukong. This guy can really take over games, and that is what Owner is showing us right now.
We'll have to see though, the fights are still very, very close. But that one could have gone either way. Again, I'm looking out for Lucid to get a third item and get level 3 in the ultimate. Then on the flip side, Faker just now dinked 18. Doran is probably going to be looking to finish his stopwatch next. He's been, or his his Sonya's. He's been extremely aggressive, and I think he needs to be for this composition to really work. There you go. Yeah, they're starting it up to the surprise of no one.
Yeah,
and I think that what they're really looking for is to keep doing this until DK missteps, and then they turn onto Aiming. Owner has his flash now. There's a window of about a third of Aiming's flash cooldown, where I think that T1 have a really, really good angle in the fight. But we'll see though, DK doesn't look like they're making any big missteps thus far.
Not quite. Shiu is trying to get that lane shoved out towards the bottom side. Now the Jax shows, and so it might mean...
Should be Edge of Night.
Okay, let's see whether he can actually put that one together. I believe he went back to base relatively recent. Never mind, he is going to be heading back home. Does complete the Edge of Night. There it is. Still incredibly far behind, but has the same amount of items because his ones are just kind of cheaper.
They are.
Feels good.
Yep.
So Lucid is going to be pretty dangerous, and now does have that extra layer of safety, which will feel pretty good. Now going to be taking the blue buff for his team as well. But man, I swear, every other best of 5 we've seen DK in have been incredibly volatile. Nothing has been like this. Nothing has been this close for this team in the play-ins, and now we've got we've been holding our breath, I feel like, for the entire first 1.5 games, as Beryl is going to be ghosting away from Owner and Faker, who do decide to get in with that Realm Warp.
Look how quick that cow is.
Establish control, exactly right. But Showmaker has Destiny, right? So starting off this Baron can always be a bit dangerous, but the teleport comes through from Doran. He gets on top of Showmaker now, whose gold card does absolutely nothing, and he ults The Destiny does come on down as now Aiming is trying to deal with Doran, who also goes golden, and the redemption is going to be there. Doran for Baron. I think T1 is saying worth on that one as Aiming, yeah, he might get another kill, but these turrets are just going to start falling.
And Lucid attempting to flash over, steal the Nash, not going to be the case. And as you highlight, that's a trade you'll take any day of the week of your T1.
The selflessness of Doran once again,
It
ladies
knows
and
no
gentlemen.
bounds. Should also set up for a second Drake for them.
Well, Shiu's going in, Beryl with a bit of a bait and switch, but Shiu may just go out, and not all out, just, okay, he does manage to make it. But I thought that was going to be a repeat of what happened around that Otacon fight as well, as Showmaker able to get some damage onto Faker here as well. Okay, they are still holding on, but they're not going to be able to take this dragon.
Yeah, they do take a lot of tempo out of Nash though. I think that T1 was really looking to push a lot more aggressively there, because with a lot of resource being thrown at Shiu, they do get the sums, right? Like Shiu now doesn't have flash, Showmaker doesn't have flash. Also, we gotta check back, like, I'm kind of wondering what's happening with Showmaker here. Did they not have vision of the TP? Because there's no way as TF you'd ever walk up to, like, it's Jax. There's a lot of top laners where you can do that.
I was a bit confused as well, but he did definitely look like he was doing it on purpose, but maybe couldn't see around the corner.
I'm not sure. The reason why I'm asking is because, again, it might just no vision.
No vision.
Okay.
No vision.
Got the confirmation. That makes way more sense. Because again, I think it's just there are very few top laners where you would never ever want to do that. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Because your main skill does not work. This still means that T1 is in the lead. Also got them the second dragon, but because of the early Drakes, T1 is not able to build towards a soul point. They should be able to get this inner as well. Lucid about to ding 16. That is a big spike, and Aiming also now has the IE done. So he does a lot of damage.
Destiny comes in, Beryl looking for an angle, but doesn't quite get the pulverize where he wants it. As Gumayushi is able to flash his way out, and they dive on top of Aiming. The flanking Yunara. That was not what we wanted to see, but T1, they turned on a dime. It's a big realm warp to get T1 into the DK base as Beryl decides he wants in on that party. I don't know whether he necessarily should have, but now T1 are going to make a big dent in this top side of the map, and this is the first big advantage that we've seen so far in this game, and it may only last a few minutes because T1 are looking to just end it.
I think they can, Atlas.
Oh, this is ridiculous because it felt like it was so close for so long, and now it is just done. Doran thwacking away at the Nexus as Showmaker is going to go golden. Shiu not going to be able to find the angle, and the Nexus will now go down. T1 will even out the series here in our first best of 5 of the playoffs and make it a best of 3.
Owner obviously gets the focus from the camera, but Atlas, I didn't expect that there would ever be a Jax